to walk through walls. It's not a trick. It happens here. It's not to be done to entertain you. It's for a purpose. To transmute from mortality to immortality. It's not a trick. It has to have a purpose. In the science of the spiritual world, we leave from one plane and go to another plane. This is why we have been trained not to even think on this. I happen to be in Massapequa, New York, doing an exorcism for Michael Bay when he saw a spirit run through the wall, and we were below ground. And I happened to have a robe on at that time, and he grabbed me from behind, and they got a little hook on me. And when you pull that thing from behind, it almost chokes you to death. But he said, did you see that? And I said, yes, I saw it. I said, but I want you to look over here. I had 13 candles in a circle and a black candle in the center. And the one in the center said, and it went out and smoke came up. I said, did you see that? Well, the house was clear. But that night about 3 o'clock in the morning, he took me to a large Jewish synagogue. And from that synagogue, there were some white limousines. And we followed the limousines to the graveyard. The Jews have a ceremony called happy visiting. It means that they go to the grave of their ancestors, and they pitch tents, and they have food, and they have liquor, and they have a little bit of everything for the grave, for the spirit of the deceased person. I have found out in over 60 years, the main problem that we have is we don't honor our ancestors.
Right.
That's the main problem that we have. Right. We become disconnected and disassociated with our ancestors. I'm not going to ask for the hands of the people in here who have had relatives that are on the other side. In the last 30 days, they haven't been to the grave. The last year, they haven't been to the grave. But there is a connection. This is why you are disconnected. The connection is linking with your ancestral relatives. One of the great things that happen is that people who love you in this life, when they transmute, they don't love you any less. They're on a higher plane. And by being on a higher plane, they're in a position to do things for you. And isn't it funny that in Catholicism, that we pray to St. Jude, and on our way here we saw St. Christopher on a building. But none of us have our ancestral relatives that we seek to communicate with. When they're gone, they're gone. We don't communicate. And that disassociation is the thing that causes us to suffer so much on the earth plane. Yes, I was in a monastery 10 years. I never saw a woman in 10 years. You don't touch. There's no embracing it. You got big sleeves, and you keep your hand under your sleeve. And you don't talk. There's no speech there. The only thing that happens is after chapel in the morning you have breakfast, and then you're on your various job assignments. But they teach a master science.